some people are claiming that the Nazis are using this march and publicity for their own interest, and they're at all not interested in the laws of the land. Matter of fact, they're advocating white revolution, and once that has been achieved, they would suppress all civil liberties of all of us. And would that be reasonable to defend people like this?
Yes, it is reasonable for all of the reasons I've already talked about. The fact is that what they advocate is very different from their ability to carry it out. They are not a powerful organization. Even if they were, the mere advocacy of ideas is not illegal in this country. The day that it is the day that democracy doesn't exist anymore.
In your opinion, do you think the city or the village of Skokie has overreacted?
No, I don't think they've overreacted. It is for them a highly emotional and terribly troubling issue. And to the extent that they have, at least some of the people in Skokie have tried to be responsible about it, I think they've succeeded. It's as difficult for them to confront this question as it is for ACLU to confront this question. By and large, I find the people in Skokie have been reasonable in their approach to the question. There are a lot of people now taking advantage of the circumstances that exist out there. I'm sure that's true of the Nazi Party. It's also, in my view, clearly true of the Jewish Defense League. But the village, it seems to me, has been fairly adept at resisting that kind of pressure and doing its best to keep the issue either in the courtrooms where it belongs, or at least in the general realm of law, so that laws are not broken, and so that the thing can be resolved in a way which is both sensible and calm.
Now, on the practical plane, what should the residents, and especially the Jews in Skokie, do in face of this march and what they would consider a provocation?
Well, those are two different questions.
Yes.
In response to a Nazi march, it seems to me that the people of Skokie have an absolute right to be in the streets demonstrating in opposition to the Nazis. I would encourage them to exercise that First Amendment right, and I would defend their right to do so. If they consider the mere presence of people in uniform provocation to commit a crime, then they ought to at least be prepared to run the risk of arrest for committing such a crime. And they ought to understand that we in this country do not deal with provocation of that kind by resorting to violence. You run the very real risk of arrest and incarceration for resorting to violence. I think everybody in Skokie ought to be aware of that, including the Nazis.
We've been talking with some people who spent or survived the concentration camp. One in particular is a man from Auschwitz, and one of the points he raises is that he has suffered so much, and he's seen so much tragedy, personal and otherwise, that he says if he ever saw that symbol again, he would go out of his mind, and he would not be responsible for the acts he would commit. Would ACLU defend a man like this on the basis of...
Of course not. Let me give you the obvious answer to that man's problem. He doesn't have to go see them. We're talking about a public demonstration on a public street. The Nazis are not going into anyone's home. They are not going into anyone's synagogue or church. They're going to be on the sidewalks.
Yeah, but they'll be visible to everybody.
Everybody who chooses to go out and see them, and that's a terribly important distinction. No one is being forced to witness any Nazi demonstration anywhere in Skokie. That's terribly important. If the sight of the swastika is going to provoke me to violence, and I know that that violence will be illegal, then I will not subject myself to that sight.
Suppose that accidentally a person sees that march and commits a crime.
Then it's still illegal. You can't commit crimes in this country. The answer to the question, no matter what the circumstances is, we don't resort to violence as a solution to First Amendment problems. And there is no defense for that, in my view, on the Nazi side or on the other side. That's not how we solve problems.
Well, one way of solving the problems is, like Rabbi Kahane says, is if they ever march into Skokie, we'll crack their skulls. And what would be your response to a statement like that?
That would be illegal, and Kahane should go to jail if he does it.